Welcome to this week's episode. Today we are going to talk about the concept of shame. I find shame to be a uniquely female experience. Not to say that men can't deal with shame, but we as women, we carry the brunt of this just deep feeling of wanting to hide in our mistakes and not show people our imperfections. Or even so far as letting shame drown us and just becoming something too heavy for us to carry. When we make mistakes, we have a tendency to internalize those things and pretend like they're not happening, instead of taking our sin, taking our mistake to the Father, laying those things at the feet of Jesus, who is the only person that can help us work through them and remove the heaviness of that burden of shame. He is the only one that can. And yet I find myself running, or used to find myself running from him when I would be ashamed of things, instead of going to him humbly and talking about them with the Lord. We tend to think that if we can look the part, right? If we can have the perfect house and the perfect kids and the attractive husband and our hair looks good and our makeup's on and we lose the weight and we have a good job and all the things, right? We have a good friend group. We have a supportive family. Like, we try to fill all the voids instead of facing the things that we're ashamed of. We think that if we can make the outside appearance look a certain way, that somehow that's going to fix the inside. And unfortunately, that just doesn't work. When shame is left to its own devices, it metastasizes. It grows internally. It's a tricky thing, shame. It's not something that we can just ignore and make it go away. No, we do have to face it head on. Before we know it, shame has spread like wildfire through every facet of our beings. And the next thing we know, we're fearful all the time. We're defined by the pressure of fear and shame. And we lose our identity in that when we're not careful and when we don't bring it to the Father and we try to hide from it. One of my favorite things about being in relationship with God is that I can be fully myself with him. I don't have to put on airs. I don't have to try to be somebody that I'm not. I don't have to look perfect. I don't have to do any of that. I can just be fully me because he knows me anyway. So me pretending that he doesn't is just lying to myself. I find freedom when I go to the Father fully authentically and talk to him about really what is weighing me down. I find release from the shame that the world wants to put on me. I find freedom, true freedom and true peace when I go to Jesus with everything in my life. God does not put shame on us. That is not from him. So if you're feeling ashamed of yourself, if you're struggling with fear, that's not from God. Okay, that is a lie from the enemy, and you can just know that. I understand that doesn't mean it's just going to go away necessarily immediately, but you need to know that that is not from the Lord. Psalm 34:5 says, "Their faces are radiant. Those who look to him are not covered in shame." And that's what happens to us when we go to Jesus with the things that are hurting. Go to Jesus with the things that we mess up in, the things that we have made big mistakes in. And I understand sometimes those things feel unfixable or they just feel too heavy to carry. But God is strong enough to carry any burden. And when you lay it at his feet, when you talk to him about it, when you go to him authentically and say, God, this is my heart. Like, these are the ways I've messed up. You already know them, but I want to talk to you about them because that's how I'm going to heal. That's how I'm going to find release from this shame. That's how I'm going to find freedom in this life, is by coming to you, Father. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'm doing that through my relationship with Jesus. So I encourage you to do that today, to just find your burdens lifted when you go to the Father, because he will embrace you and he already knows all the things that you've done, all the things that you will do. And guess what? He chose you anyway. He chose to love you anyway. And that's the gospel. I hope that you have a great week. And remember, this love is for you, girl.